Welcome back to another Reaper blog tutorial. Today we're looking at what's new in Reaper 6.57, including a new extreme time stretching algorithm and much more. Let's have a look. We're going to start this one off with some small changes to the appearance. Add separate preferences for drawing labels above media items and hiding media item labels at specific media item heights. Do not draw media item labels above the item if the item would be smaller than the label. Add theme elements for inactive takes applied separately from elements of muted, not soloed tracks and items. And on Mac, they've added the general volume dark and general pan dark theme elements for Mac dark mode. So first up is the changes to the media item appearance. So they've rearranged these preferences slightly. Draw labels above the item when media height is more than 28 pixels. Hide labels when media item height is less than 28 pixels. So I've got an item here, and if I resize this track, you can see that it switches from being above the item to being on the item. And if I keep going, it will hide that label so that the label is not larger than the actual item. And if I uncheck this, draw labels above the item when media height is more than however many pixels, and apply that, it will just stay kind of the same. It will say on the item, overlapping the waveform if necessary. If you never want this to be hidden, we can just set this to 0 pixels. And so it will always show that as long as that track height fits. And if we're in free item positioning mode, we shrink this super small. It's kind of setting a minimum size for that. And if I set this as labels above and apply that on a free item positioning mode item, it reacts like this. So we have options for the minimum height for showing the labels, whether the items show in its own separate kind of element, or if the labels are hidden. Just a small update to what I showed in the previous update video. In the previous update video, I talked about being able to change the overlay color when you mute a track. So that's this option here, muted unsoloed track item overlay color and muted unsoloed track item overlay mode. So I've got this on a very dark gray, but we can customize this to pink or something, and it'll look like that. And now we have the same sort of option for inactive takes. So I've got a couple different takes in this item, and let's set the inactive take color to, let's do like a pure black, and set the normal mode to 1. And now, so these inactive takes are completely black. Or if we set this to 0.5 and set this to more of a middle gray sort of thing, 50% gray. With 50% gray, it looks like that. So you can entirely customize how this works, if it's just a slight variation of the color or an extreme variation of the color. All this to say it's separate from the muted item color overlay. So when you solo another track or mute a track, this shading is completely separate from the others. And now for that dark mode change, we're going to see that in a couple areas. We're going to see that in the Kakos plugins like Rrreeeaaa, where there's all these horizontal sliders, and also in the routing window. We've got this panning control, the volume control. And we'll see that difference if we go to themes, and if I go to default 5, you'll see that these are still using the standard general volume controls. If I go to my own theme, I'm seeing that dark slider, but that's because I've customized that, and it's now no longer going to work with light mode. So if I switch my screen to light mode, you can see that it's still using these dark sliders instead of the light sliders. And if I go back to Reaper default, it's going to use different image files based on the light or dark mode. So it's a really small thing, but it definitely helps with that dark mode styling. Drag and drop. Improve preview display when dragging to insert new track area. So this is something that I showed in the previous video, where you drag in a file, you can insert a new track, by going in between, or the kind of the top area of a track or between tracks. And now you can see that there's a completely different sort of overlay. Instead of that yellow tooltip for inserting a new track, it's now this sort of stripe across the whole track. You still have the outline for the length of that item, but before and after you will see new track written there. The color of the drag and drop tooltip overlay thing, that's going to be using the floating media item label color. For media items, actions to activate, previous, next, etc. take do not affect locked media items. Allow opening and editing per take effects on locked media items, but not Alt/Option click to delete all effects. So this is a refinement to the locked items changes in the recent 6.55 update. Let's put on relimit on this item. And if I lock this item, I can still click that button, bring that up, but I can't Alt-click to delete. The only thing I can really click here is the unlock button. As for the takes system, if I'm using the action, what is that, Shift-T, I can cycle through different takes, right? Or Shift-R. That's how I have mine set up. But if this item is locked, I can still select the item, I can adjust the effects, but not able to change the takes, which is usually what you want. You usually want to lock the active takes. So I duplicated the item, and if I select them both and use that function to select different takes, it's not changing both of them. And in the previous update, it was possible to do that. Recent projects. Add option to display customized project title set in project settings notes in recent projects menu and prompt. Add option to display either file part or full path in list. So in project settings notes, we have the option of displaying a title for a project. And this title can be used for various things. I talked about this in a previous update. It's a fairly recent change, but you could call this like my song. And you can put in your username there. And then that will show up in various places like the Media Explorer. You can use those tags for metadata. And now with certain preferences, file general, recent project list display button here, a little bit hidden. We've got display project title as set in the project notes, full file path, file name, the full path, the file name and full path, and we can clear the recent project list. So these used to be separate options. They're now kind of condensed into this button. This option here, display project title, is what is added in this update. And we can see that if we go to the file menu and then recent projects. I tried this out for one of my projects, so synth drum demo song. It's separated by a dot, and then there's the file name. And unchecking that option, applying, going to file, recent projects, and now that that project does not have the name there. I do like that option. When we're using the prompt function on Reaper Startup, under recent projects, we will see that project title listed there along with the file name and the other preferences that you have set there. Razor edit. Add mouse modifiers to move areas, disabling or temporarily enabling ripple edit. Let's have a look at that in Preferences, Mouse Modifiers. And if I go to Razor Edit Area, it'll probably be a left drag. Let's have a look at what new options are here. Yeah, so move area, ripple edit this track, or disable ripple edit all tracks. We don't have a ripple all tracks plus copy. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, let's try ripple edit all tracks. So that's going to be a control left drag on a razor edit area. So I'm going to set up a little demo here with a couple items. Let's duplicate that track so we can see that this affects all tracks. I'm going to create a ripple edit area. And so within this highlighted area, I'm going to control drag. That's going to ripple edit all tracks for that razor edit area, which is really cool. And if you normally work with ripple editing on, you can set up another shortcut for disabling ripple edits. So it's working against your default behavior. I would also love to see drag copying to ripple edit as well. Timestretch, new RREEaaa polyphase synthesis stretching mode. So this is a new time stretch mode, which you'll find in item properties. You could set it in project settings as well. Default pitch shift mode, Elastic 3 Pro. That's still going to be the best option for general purpose musical changes, especially short changes, general time stretching, compression, expansion to fit things into time. But this new RREEaaa mode, 3 Rs, 3 Es, and 3 As, that's going to be more like a Paul stretch, sort of extreme time stretched, smooth, kind of almost reverbed kind of time stretch algorithm, which is really neat. So I just wanted to show you that this is one place you can change it, but most likely you'll be changing it in item properties. So if we double click on an item and we go to take, pitch, shift, time stretch mode, project default, right now it's set on Elastic 3, but we can change that to RREEaaa. First of all, let's hear what it's like with Elastic 3 Pro with the default settings and apply this. So here's the original sound. Okay, let's stretch this out to about, I don't know, 10 minutes long or something like that. 12 minutes long, okay? So while it's trying to maintain pitch, it's really destroying the sound of the audio. If we turn off preserve pitch when changing rate, we're not going to be using a time stretch algorithm at all, unless we then apply a pitch shift to it. So turning off preserve pitch, that's just going to make this play this slower, essentially changing the sample rate, and it goes a couple octaves lower. That's not really what we want for extreme time stretching in this case. So I'm going to set that back to preserve pitch. I'm going to change this to the RREEaaa mode, and I'll just use the default settings for now. And here's how it sounds. So it has this sort of reverb effect to it. It turns anything into a pad. We could stretch that even further and it would still probably sound good. If we click on where it says default settings, we're going to see a lot of settings. Actually, it doesn't even fit on my screen. There's actually a little description. A polyphase synthesis stretcher enjoys large stretch ratios, does not preserve transients, prefers source media longer than FFT size and analysis offset, meaning it works well on long source files. And it's unsuitable for use with stretch markers, except maybe with a fade size of 0 milliseconds. You're not going to want to use this for general purpose time stretching. It's too weird sounding. We have 4 options for FFT size, 4 options for analysis offset, 4 options for analysis window, 8 options for synthesis, and then another 4 options for the synthesis window. All of these affect the sound. There's probably too many options here. I would just recommend maybe messing with the FFT size and the synthesis day to day to get different sounds. This one, 3x, says a bit pulsing, but the others don't really have any descriptions. So let's play that again before I change any settings. And we can change these in real time, basically. So I'll drop down to the lowest FFT size. And the lowest analysis size, or highest. It's a little more grindy. Let's try rectangular analysis. and 10x synthesis. And synthesis window set to triangular. And back up to the highest FFT size. Very cool effects. You could spend a lot of time stretching things, making these weird pads and everything. I've only done it on this one sound today, but there's a whole world of possibilities with stretching things in your sound library and getting completely new sounds. I did a video comparing the different algorithms in Reaper for extreme time stretching back when they added the rubber band library. That will be linked in the description below if you want to check that out. But I do need to keep this video short, and I will move on to the next item. For video, decoding and rendering of WMA, WMV, and MPEG-4 audio-video via Windows Media Foundation. Support embedding FLAC audio in WMF encoded MP4, M4V on Windows 10 and later. Improve performance when using video-only or audio-only media. Support encoding audio-only or video-only files with FFmpeg. And an update to the grid of videos preset. Along with that, some changes to the preferences, include more information and help in the video decoder details window, and deprecate direct show video decode mode must be manually re-enabled in preferences. So actually a lot of this stuff is only on PC. So we're going to switch over to Windows and we'll look at that stuff. So preferences video, we now have the option of WMF as a video decoder. You may not need FFmpeg with Reaper anymore on Windows. If we click on this Show Decoder Information box, we have some new information about this. This top section has been completely rewritten and lists all the available options. WMF, Windows Media Foundation for Windows Vista Plus. No additional download required, which is excellent to hear. There's also QuickTime, which is going to be 32-bit. Probably don't want to use it. FFmpeg. There's a basic build that comes with Reaper, but you're going to want the full version to do things like H.264 exporting and decoding. VLC will get you a ton of formats for decoding, but it doesn't support encoding. And then direct show, I didn't even know this was a possible option before, but they don't want you to use it anyways. So just information about those things. And if we scroll down, we see that the Windows Media Foundation is available. I have VLC installed, and I have the full version of FFmpeg installed. We scroll down, we've got direct show. It's available, but don't use it. Deprecated means don't use. So right now I've got my video decoder priority set to WMF and VLC. So I've imported a screen capture file. This is a H.264 MKV file recorded with OBS. If I right click on this and go to source properties, we can see that it's using Windows Media Foundation for video and audio encoding or decoding. And it can show me that it was H.264 with an AAC. That's working really well. This plays back. The performance seems to be pretty good at 1080p. That's working. Let's look at the export options if we're doing video now with the WMF. MPEG-4 Windows Media. We can do it MPEG-4 video with the H.264 codec. We can set this to a nice big number like 12,000 and get super high quality out of that, 320 AAC. The fact that this is all built in instead of having to get the separate FFmpeg is excellent. We also have the option of encoding with FLAC, so lossless audio. AAC is good. It's high quality lossy, but FLAC is lossless. It's as good as wave It's basically WAV put into a zip file. We can also do audio only, and we can do Windows Media Video format, WMV files. It's basically changing the extension. I haven't tested this extensively because I mostly make videos on Mac. But yeah, this is the main thing of not needing an extra download to decode videos for playback and editing and to encode to H.264 YouTube-ready files. That's awesome. That's a huge improvement for the Windows guys. So that's it for this update video. Lots of great stuff. Love the Rrreeaaa Timestretch. Love the fact that they've added that H.264 encoding built into Reaper using OS level encoders and decoders. Fantastic. Love to see it. Yeah, and lots of other great little things in this update as well. If you've missed any of the previous update videos, check the playlist linked down below, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter, support the Reaper blog through Patreon, and visit reaperblog.net for a lot more tutorials.